Hello, 12th graders. Today, the lecture will be about your first bi-weekly worksheet for semester 4, entitled Why UNICEF. Read the following selection below about the humanitarian actions of UNICEF and then answer the questions that follow. Why UNICEF? The water filled the boat up till my knees. I was sitting on a man's lap and afraid for my mother, knowing the back pain she suffers from. I was afraid the boat might collapse in the middle and we would sink into the sea and die. I was afraid for my mother, and my mother was afraid for me, said Malak, a 7-year-old girl. 65 million children around the world are on the move, running from conflict, poverty, and extreme weather, looking for a place to call home and a better life. They are among the most vulnerable people on earth, children on the edge. It is unlikely that these numbers will fall, so we are expecting one of the greatest disasters of our age. In this crisis, children are the most vulnerable. Many are traveling with their families, and many others are on their own. Every one of them is in need of protection and entitled to the rights guaranteed under the Convention on the Rights of the Child. In many cases, migrants might experience different types of violence and abuse, each with their own characteristics. While moving to other countries, migrant children and women, especially those without documentation, are vulnerable to trafficking and exploitation. Conflicts and natural disasters that are the major reasons why children move to safe places can be significantly harmful to their psychosocial well-being and development. Exposure to violence, disaster, loss of homes or separation from family members and friends, deterioration in living conditions, inability to provide for oneself and family, and lack of access to services can all have immediate and long-term consequences for children, families, and communities, and impair their ability to function and be fulfilled. Okay, guys, so obviously this article is talking about children who are forced to move from one place to another because of different issues, either war, horrible weather or natural disasters, or just migration, and the issues they have to face as a result. Their journeys are very dangerous, and as the article says, women and children are the two most vulnerable groups in this type of movement. Now, moving on to paragraph 6. Changes in legislation, meaning laws, policies, services, and social norms can improve the protection of children in multiple ways. UNICEF is working on the ground to ensure that programs and policies in response to this crisis put the rights and needs of all children first. It is also working to expand humanitarian services wherever they are needed on refugees' routes, including providing water, age-appropriate food, and establishing special spaces where children can play and women can rest and take care of their babies. Okay, guys, as you probably know, UNICEF is the branch of the United Nations that deals with children's issues, children's rights, making sure that children have their basic human rights. Okay? Paragraph 7, UNICEF works with partners on a number of issues by strengthening child protection system and promoting positive social norms in all contexts to prevent and respond to violence, exploitation, and abuse directed at children. With its partners, UNICEF provides different kinds of psychosocial support to help children during emergency situations overcome such difficult experiences. Some include organizing culturally and age-appropriate, safe, and stimulating activities such as sports and games to develop life skills and coping mechanisms. UNICEF uses child-friendly spaces for organizing activities in stimulating environments where affected children can feel safe. It also provides specialized referral services for children with behavioral issues so that they receive appropriate networks of professional care. So paragraph 7 basically lists all the services that the UNICEF provides for the children in order to make their lives safer and easier. okay, in these times of crisis. Paragraph 8. To strengthen the ability of community members to support their children, families, and neighbors, UNICEF could disseminate key messages, spread key messages on how to cope or deal with emergency situations through a variety of channels, including the media, religious organizations, existing community structures, and youth groups. Paragraph 9. At the same time, there are still millions caught in situations of conflict, displacement, poverty, and underdevelopment, and UNICEF remains committed to supporting sustainable solutions where they are needed most. In delivering humanitarian results for children, UNICEF recognizes that meaningful and effective engagement with affected populations is central to their survival and recovery. The organization will therefore focus on initiatives that further strengthen its ability to link its development and humanitarian mandates by helping communities reduce the risks and impacts of natural disasters and conflicts at many levels. So guys, obviously this article answers our title, Why UNICEF? Why is UNICEF needed? And the article went on to list all the reasons why it's needed in those tough times, in times of crisis, conflict, natural disasters, wars, okay, in order to help children cope with the horrible events and situations happening around them. Now let's move to part A, which is usually comprehension questions related to the text. Based on the first 3 paragraphs, what social problems does UNICEF focus on? Okay, they were all listed in the first 3 paragraphs. Number 2, according to paragraph 6, what 2 major steps does UNICEF take to help children? Number 3, what is the author's main purpose for writing the above article? Of course, any author who writes an article or a piece of writing has a purpose in their mind. Okay, explain. 4, based on the indicated paragraphs, what does each of the underlined words refer to? Okay, you guys, of course, have thoroughly gone through the worksheet I uploaded earlier. So the following are the answers. Based on the first 3 paragraphs, what social problems does UNICEF focus on? Okay, UNICEF focuses on the problem of migrants and refugees who move from their homeland because of conflicts and natural disasters. So generally migrants or refugees who are forced to leave their home. Number 2, steps that are taken by UNICEF to ensure that children's rights are being fulfilled. First, UNICEF works on ensuring that children's rights and needs are considered a priority in any program or policy for helping children. Second, it works on increasing humanitarian services wherever they are needed. 3, writer's purpose. The writer's purpose is to inform the reader about the UNICEF efforts to help children and reduce the impacts of natural disasters and conflicts on them. Number 4, if you go back to the pronouns in the respective paragraphs here, they in paragraph 2 refers to 65 million children. Some in paragraph 7 refers to kinds of psychosocial support. Now, refer to paragraph 7, which I displayed here, okay? And then complete the table below with the purpose of each kind of support provided by UNICEF to help children. Kind of support, organization of activities. So what is the purpose of these kinds of support? Using child-friendly spaces. Why? What's the purpose of this support? After reading this paragraph very well, okay, we find that the answers are as follows. Organization activities. Why? Developing life skills and coping mechanisms. You know, children are more easily able to cope or deal with their new situation or their crisis situation. 2, why do they use child-friendly spaces? Obviously, to help children to feel safe. It is helping children to feel safe. Okay, so this is part B. Part C, what type, those are the organizational skills questions. What type of introduction does the writer use in paragraph 1? What purpose does it serve? Obviously, the writer gives us a certain image in paragraph 1, a certain anecdote, okay? And of course, that has several purposes, which you will now see in the answer. What is the organizational pattern in paragraph 5? Number 3, what cohesive device does the author use to link paragraphs 6 and 7? And finally, how can you best describe the writer's tone in paragraph 2? Now, first, the writer uses a quotation by a girl describing her fear in order to arouse the reader's curiosity and introduce the topic. You can equally say that the author starts the article with an anecdote or a brief narration of the story of a girl who is describing her fear while traveling from one place to another. Both are equally correct. The purpose of such a method is to arouse the reader's curiosity and introduce the topic of the text, which is how UNICEF helps out those children in need while traveling from one place to another. Okay, so what is the organizational pattern? It is a cause-effect organizational pattern. The writer uses words such as reasons, consequences to explain the conditions under conflicts and natural disasters that have harmful effects on children. Now, number 3, we notice that in paragraph 6 and paragraph 7, the author repeats the keyword UNICEF. Remember again and again, cohesive links are of two types: direct cohesive links, which are coordination, conjunctions, and transitional signals. And the indirect links are repetition of keywords, synonyms, and noun, pronoun, reference. Obviously here the author uses the repetition of a keyword, so therefore this is an indirect cohesive link. The writer uses an indirect link, which is the repetition of keywords. The word UNICEF is repeated both in paragraph 6 and 7 to emphasize the importance of this organization in reaching out to children and helping them. And in those paragraphs, they were listing the types of services that UNICEF provides to these children. Number 4, the writer's tone. Going back to the paragraph, we notice that the writer's tone is concerned or worried. The writer refers to the 65 million children who are looking for homes and the children who are vulnerable, weak, and on the edge. The writer's tone is also pessimistic by saying unlikely that these numbers will fall, and by expecting the greatest disaster of our age. So the author's tone is both worried, concerned, and pessimistic. Okay? You can say hopeless instead of pessimistic. Now, the reading selection has 9 paragraphs 1 to 9. Each of the following extracts A and B is the correct part that completes one paragraph in the selection. Read extracts A and B carefully and then choose from the paragraphs 1 to 9 the one that correctly fits with each extract. Of course, after having written the main idea of each paragraph near it with a few words, this will be an easy task for you. Extract A. This includes developing and promoting practical measures for engaging with communities, local partners, and global coordination mechanisms that nurture greater quality for affected populations and ensure their recovery and survival. Okay, there's an obvious part of the text where this is talked about. It belongs there. Extract B, when they reach countries of destination, migrants and their families often find themselves victims of discrimination, poverty, and social marginalization. Okay, so they have to deal with the discrimination, of course. As migrants, they even face different levels of severe conditions that might put their lives to risk. Okay, those extracts belong to the following paragraph, written this way and this way only. Extract A is the correct part that completes paragraph 9, or extract A fits paragraph 9, or extract A completes paragraph 9. full stop. Extract B is the correct part that completes paragraph 4, full stop. Okay, moving on, read the following sentences and then find in the paragraphs 4, 5, and 8. I gave you the paragraph so that you don't have to look in the whole article. One word only that can best replace each of the underlined words and phrases. Since the financial crisis started, people in many countries have been suffering from degeneration. Okay, degeneration in quality of life. Depletion or destruction. We'll see what word in those paragraphs means this. She was alone, feeling open, meaning weak. The word also is vulnerable in the text. To harm and scared in such a strange and dangerous place. Number 3. Finished here. Number 3, drinking alcohol and texting while driving are not allowed because both weaken one's ability to drive a car safely. Let's see what word that is. The conference was a good chance to spread the information and instructions needed for protecting children's rights. So, deterioration. Okay. 2, vulnerable, weak, impair, make something worse. Disseminate is to spread. And they are found in the following paragraphs. Okay? Finally, part F, the following is a poor version of a one-sentence summary of paragraph 5. Rewrite it correctly. So this is how not to write a summary. It's poor. Okay? Let's take a look at the paragraph 5. Conflicts and natural disasters that are the major reasons why children move to safe places can be significantly harmful to their psychosocial well-being and development. Exposure to violence, disaster, loss of homes or separation from family members and friends, deterioration in living conditions, inability to provide for oneself and family, and lack of access to services can all have immediate and long-term consequences for children, families, and communities, and impair their ability to function and be fulfilled. So obviously here we're talking about the effects, what those disasters could lead to. And the most important thing is to first begin with a citation, okay? Then you continue your summary. And remember, it's a one-sentence summary. Remember, a sentence ends with an end mark. It's not a line. A sentence ends with an end mark, one of those. Full stop or exclamation or question mark. So the summary is as follows. In paragraph 5 of the text entitled Why UNICEF, comma, still in the same sentence, the author explains that conflicts and natural disasters can have harmful and long-term effects on the well-being and self-fulfillment of children and communities. And this is it for this worksheet, okay? We will discuss this later in our live lectures. See you.